Hi, welcome back. That much needed pause in the market. So after the Sensex rallied 8% in the last 3 days, today it's just taking a bit of a breather. But we're not taking a breather from the market opinion and what you should be doing come the 16th of May. Ramdeo Agarwal, Joint Managing Director of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, joins into our discussion. Ramdeo, hi, good morning. Good to see you in on the show. Is my voice reaching you? Nope, so I don't think he can hear me, so we'll try and fix that one. But in the meantime, in case you were wondering about the stocks that are moving around, it is, a lot of these defensive names that are on the forefront today. So just watch out for some caution on the screen. Let's try and touch base again with Ramdeo. Ramdeo, hi. I was saying good morning, and if my voice is reaching you, can you hear me fine?
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
Okay, great. This market has been has seen some ferocious moves. I mean, 8 to 10% in the last 3 days. We're trying to find out what is the seat tally that will now disappoint the markets on the 16th of May. So, in a sense, how much is already priced in, you think?
I think whatever has been the opinion poll of say 240, 250, 260, that is the lower band of the thing. So it will be very difficult to say that at least 250, 260 is not priced in. Definitely it is priced in. Lower band is definitely priced in, and whether the result comes closer to the lower band or upper band,
If it,
so I would think that 250, 260 is priced in, and.
So Ramdev, if it comes in actually NDA at 250 and still hankering for that 22 seats for a majority, would Friday see a sell-off?
I would think so. I would think so, because anything significant short of majority would be a minor disappointment at this juncture.
Okay, but there are parties that may be willing to support. The newspapers say today that the BJP is reaching out to Naveen Patnaik and to Jayalalitha. It's possible that they will cobble together a decently stable majority even at 250. So if there is a dip that is given to you on Friday and Monday because it is not 272 alone for the NDA, will you use that dip to buy?
Lata, this is speculating. I don't speculate. I don't buy or sell based on this. Whether it is 272 or 1872 and all. I'm just not in that game. I buy what I like, and I hold it for much longer period. So these 2-3 days don't matter. In fact, these are the opportunities. If by chance there is a dip and something which I like, if I'm getting 5-10% lower, then I'll go and aggressively buy that, if I have the money left with me. And today, if there is no result and I'm getting a wonderful price and I wanted to sell, so I'll sell also. So I don't think I am impacted by all this, this 250 seats or 270 seats. But for the speculators, it is very important, not for the investors.
So just give us a sense of what you expect the markets to do post the 16th of May, Ramdeo. How much could the fair value of this market go up if the exit polls are accurate this time?
So now again, the whole question is, nobody knows. See, if you are talking about shorter the period you are asking about, more unlikely that anybody can have any kind of a view. So there could be sell-off on 16th, irrespective of a very big majority coming in, and market may go up by 10% if foreigners they buy aggressively. So it is a very conditional kind of thing. You don't know what is going to happen. So I would not speculate on from this level what is going to happen in the next 2-3 days.
No, I take your point. I don't think Sonia's question was for next few days. She was asking you the fair value of the markets generally for 2014, given that they've run up a lot and nobody's really upped their GDP or earnings estimates just yet. So for you, what is the fair value of this market for 2014?
Yeah, so I would think, say this 7,000, given a clear mandate to the government, I think 7,000 is a very fair kind of, value of the market, because because the earnings, what we are saying for the current year about 1,300, 1,325, and next year for about 1,500, 1,525, in that situation, the current valuations don't look to be very stretched.
Okay.
Okay. So, how do you approach this market sectorally now, Ramdeo? Do you go belly up in terms of, some of these cyclical names, infrastructure, capital goods names, or do you still stick to the good quality defensives, the technology stocks?
See, there can be cyclicals in the quality also. So it doesn't mean that if you are a cyclical company, you cannot be of the high quality. Say a company like say Cummins or a company like Bosch, they are very high quality and they are quite cyclical also. So you have to decide whether you want to buy very bad quality at very very cheap price, or whether you want to buy very high quality at reasonable price. So my choice is very clear that I will not negotiate on the quality, and if I don't get it a absolute bargain basement price, in that case I'm willing to pay a little higher, but the portfolio has to reflect the quality.
Okay, in that case, you said that if these market moves offer you an opportunity to sell, you would. If you owned BHEL, would you sell it at 218?
I would have never owned BHEL in my portfolio, so there is no question of taking any decision on that.
Okay, would you own any of the PSU banks, Ramdev? There is a call to free the bank boards. It's an excellent report, the PJ Nayak report, but it is for an investor to decide how much of it will get implemented. You won't bet on it right just yet?
Yeah, I think this is a very, I would say the committee is at least very well formed, and the recommendations are very aggressive but very clear. I mean, there is no ambiguity about what should be done. The issue is, I think, whether they accept the report in toto, or they, like earlier times, does it go into some kind of a basket and nobody looks at it. But my sense is the crisis is so total that this report will definitely come into being, and the new government will look at it very seriously, or they might decide to appoint another committee on this committee. But I think that's been the past experience of the earlier governments. So I think there will be a breakaway from that, and they will take this committee very seriously, and bulk of the recommendations should be deliberated upon, and very quickly I think they should move on to this. And it's a perfect timing for this kind of report to come, and it will be very handy for the new government to take on to this kind of report and move on. So I would think that it's a very significant recommendation, and it will have a huge bearing on the prospects for the a lot of these PSU banks. So
Any of them just yet on that hope?
Hello?
Are you going to buy any of the PSU bank stocks expecting that they are on the cusp of a great restructuring?
Yeah, so I would wait for more developments on this. What is the view of the government, whether they are inclined to look at this very seriously, because this has a deep kind of implication, and I'm quite sure the government is not going to accept it as it is where it is. So what kind of twist they give, and if at all they accept, because the mind is conditioned so badly that nothing can happen of this order what is mentioned in the report. So that's why you see the markets. I think in the opening nobody is bothering about whether this report has come or not come. So the stocks are completely flat, and none of the PSU banks are on showing any kind of encouragement because of this report. So clearly market doesn't believe that government will accept it. But I would think that it's a very opportune time, and with the new government there is a likelihood that government will accept. The moment you come to know some indication in next 1 week or 10 days or 15 days that government is having positive inclination towards this report, I think the rally will start.
You've been through many cycles like this in the past, Ramdeo. Typically, how long does it take for a new government to restart the investment cycle?
It's very difficult because every time it's a very different environment, different challenges, and you don't remember what happened in 2002 or those kind of things, because there were different challenges. But I don't think it is going to happen very quickly. As far as one is what happens to the investment cycle itself, and hence the corporate earnings and the stock price. Second is that a view on what is going to happen 12 months henceforth. So clearly the concrete actions will happen 12 months henceforth. but there can be a very positive view, I mean change of opinion that these big things are going to happen. And in that anticipation, you can see the markets or the stock surging to the new highs. And I think that will be the game after 16th. You know, wherever expectations are changed, once expectations are revised, that in 3 years' time, instead of nothing happening or something not growing at all, is likely to grow at 25-30%. Say like if they say that interlinking of river is going to be seriously looked into, suddenly all the cement companies' prospects in next 5 years, I mean nothing is going to happen in next 2-3 years, but the prospect for cement companies, the assets underlying, would undergo different appraisal. So markets will start moving and will start becoming hopeful on those counters. So investment cycle will definitely not start very quickly, but just the kind of policy announcements government do and clearances they start, I think that itself will change the mood in the market.
What is on your radar? You said if I get a good stock, even if I don't get it at basement value, if I think it's good, I'll buy. What is it that you're watching to give you a decent price? Which stocks?
So, it's a stock by stock, so I don't need to get many stocks because I don't have that much surplus money also. But, in a fully invested kind of situation, one is looking for some changes and how far those changes could be. Say like this, like today's report about the PSU banks. I mean, how exactly government is going to do that? So, not only about the PSU banks, but how the competitive landscape changes for the entire banking industry, because it can have a huge implication if you restructure all the banks on a professional line, the way it has been said. In that case, the prospects for the existing private sector banks would change dramatically. So, I think one has to go about seeing stock by stock, industry by industry as the developments take place. And I think what is going to be the impact of good governance into the, because the first thing which is going to come is good governance. So the asset mobility, asset velocity, decision making process will quicken, and what it will do to the businesses, I think those things have to be seen. But fundamentally, I think the winning companies will keep winning, and broken companies will still have bad time going forward. So I would still bet on to the past winners and current winners, bulk of it in my portfolio.
Fair enough, Ramdev. Actually, I just wanted to add to say that we had a professor from IIM Ahmedabad, one Professor Rammohan, saying that what Narendra Modi did to Gujarat-based PSUs was he actually professionalized the bank. He threw out all the politicos and brought in professional directors, the professor said that's how I got into one of the boards. So it's quite possible, as Ramdev says, that if it is a Modi government with a stable majority, he might look at several aspects of this report. Even if he doesn't bring down the stake, professionalization of the board would be such a big thing that it would change the terrain of the banking space, both private and public. Ramdev Agarwal, pleasure speaking with you as always. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, let's take a break. We spoke a little bit about banks. We'll do that again, but